I live in a small town, nestled in the woods, far from the nearest city. It's one of those places where everyone knows each other, and the isolation brings a certain sense of peace. At least, that's how it used to feel until that one night that changed everything. I'd been working late at my office job, and when I finally wrapped up, the roads were empty. I've always preferred the quiet of driving through the country at night. There's something peaceful about it. No headlights, no traffic, just the sound of my tires on the road. I knew I'd be home in 20 minutes, maybe less. The drive from my office to my house isn't that long, but it's a winding route through dense forests, dark and quiet, especially after midnight. That night, something was different. As I approached the familiar bend in the road, I noticed something unusual in the distance. At first, I thought it was a deer or perhaps a stray animal. But as I got closer, I realized it was a person standing in the middle of the road. I slowed down, wondering if they needed help. It was a woman, tall, dressed in what looked like a flowing white gown. It didn't seem right. Who would be out here in the middle of the night dressed like that, especially in this weather? The chill in the air was enough to cut through a jacket, let alone a thin dress. As I got closer, I instinctively turned on my high beams. My headlights illuminated her fully, and I could see her face, or what was left of it. Her skin was pale, too pale, almost gray. Her eyes were wide and vacant, staring straight ahead. I couldn't see her feet. They were hidden by the long gown, and she wasn't moving. She was just standing there, not even acknowledging me as I neared. I considered stopping to ask if she needed help, but something about the way she stood, so eerily still, made me hesitate. Maybe I'd just drive past her and call for help when I reached home. As I passed her, I stole a glance in my rearview mirror. I froze. She was still standing there, but now her head was slowly turning, following my car with unnerving precision. I quickly looked forward, the hair on the back of my neck standing up. I could feel her gaze on me even as I accelerated down the road, trying to shake the strange feeling in my chest. I didn't look back again. I just kept driving, telling myself it was nothing, just a strange coincidence. I got home around 1 a.m., parked in my driveway, and immediately noticed something off. My driveway was gravel, and as I stepped out of the car, I heard a faint crunching noise. I turned to look at the empty street, but nothing seemed out of the ordinary. I was about to head inside when I heard the sound again. This time it was coming from the woods behind my house. I froze. I thought I heard footsteps, someone walking through the trees, deliberately slow, as if they were waiting for me to notice. It was a sound I couldn't ignore. It sent a chill through my entire body. Was it just my mind playing tricks on me, or was someone really out there? I started to walk toward my front door when I heard a faint whisper, barely audible, but distinct. "I see you." My heart stopped. It wasn't the wind, it wasn't an animal. It was a voice. A soft, cold voice that seemed to come from the trees, from the darkness. My pulse raced, and before I even thought about it, I rushed inside and locked the door behind me. I told myself it was just my imagination, but the events from earlier kept replaying in my mind. The woman in the gown, the way she followed my car with her eyes. I tried to forget about it, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone, that someone or something was out there, watching. The next morning, I checked the woods around my house. Nothing. The trees were silent, untouched, but the unsettling feeling stayed with me, especially when I noticed something strange in the dirt near the edge of the forest. A small, shallow hole. It looked like something or someone had been digging. The whole day passed, and I tried to push it from my mind, but when night fell, I found myself unable to sleep. The thought of that woman, her pale face, and that voice haunting me kept me wide awake. I wasn't sure if I could trust my own mind anymore, or if something darker was truly out there, lurking in the shadows. At around 2 a.m., I heard it again, the soft crunch of footsteps outside my window. The voice, that same eerie whisper. I see you. It was closer now, too close. My heart was racing as I grabbed my phone, praying I wasn't just hearing things. I turned on the flashlight and shone it toward the window. There, standing just outside, was the woman from the night before, her pale face illuminated by the beam. But now she wasn't just staring. She was smiling, a wide, grotesque grin that stretched unnaturally across her face. The sight of it made my blood run cold. I stumbled back, my legs shaking, my mind screaming for me to run. But my body was frozen. I couldn't move. Before I could react, the woman's voice drifted through the window, softer now, but chilling. You're mine now. I didn't wait to hear more. I rushed to the phone, dialing the police. They told me they'd be right over, but I knew it would take them a while to get here. The whole time, I kept my eyes trained on the window, watching her slowly move closer until she was right at the glass, her face just inches from mine. Then the lights from a car shone in the distance. The woman vanished, disappearing into the night without a trace. When the police arrived, they searched the area, but there was no sign of her. Nothing. No footprints, no evidence, just the silence of the night. They told me I must have imagined it, that it was probably just a late-night prank or a random person. But I know what I saw. I know what I heard. And I'll never forget that cold smile. Now, every time I go to bed, I lock the windows, double-check the doors, and keep the lights on. I tell myself I'm being paranoid, but deep down I know she's still out there, waiting. And one day she'll come back for me,